Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's Over 50 and Flourishing. These are my personal favorite podcasts when I get to have my darling husband on. But we're not talking about what you and I want to talk about. You know that.
Correct.
We have opened it
we
up
have we have jumped the shark,
We have
and
totally
we're now
jumped the shark.
we're now letting you ask us questions.
Yeah, which is so cool. And here's the thing. I mean, and you would agree to this. Anytime you and I post a picture or we've done a podcast together, we get a litany of questions about a myriad of things, whether it's, reconnecting or love in this stage of life. Or the one thing that I love that you and I hear from people is that you give us hope that this kind of love is possible. And I think it's so sweet and so neat.
It is. What a kind thing to say. And we can only hope and pray, not only that we do that, and that it has a positive effect on people, but also that they do get hope from it, and know that the door is never closed.
That's so true, unless you close it in your mind, but you have that power.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard this in our church several times. If I'm not dead, God's not done.
Exactly.
Like, as long as you're alive, as long as the sun rises every morning, there are new possibilities and opportunities. You don't even know what's around the next corner.
As long as you have hope, but you got to have hope. So we had hoped
because you got to have hope.
Got to have hope.
I got to have hope. There was something like that, wasn't it?
which plays an equally important role in all of this, by the way. We opened it up. Boy, did we get flooded. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions.
Really?
Yeah, really. So we've kind of broken it down. Court has been super, super helpful in categorizing the questions. And so you have a list and I have a list. And so my list, I'm going to ask you because these were kind of questions for you. And I think yours were maybe for me. And then Court has a list for the two of us together. So I'm going to hit you with my best shot since we're redoing all these 80s tracks. All right. Did you grow up in Texas?
No, I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, a little town called Greensburg, and went to school all up and down the eastern side of the country. And then, ironically, met a young lady that lived in Houston. And I thought, well, Houston's a big city. I was working at a Christian production Christian network in Lynchburg, Virginia. And I thought, well, Houston might have a lot of bigger opportunities and, got this long distance thing going. So I moved to Texas. The relationship didn't work out, but I did fall in love with something, and that was Texas.
Texas stuck. So, that's good. Are you a Steelers fan?
Very much. Now, I'm not crazy
not like your
my
mother.
mom.
Yeah.
Y'all, I'd like to address you for a minute here,
Please
if I may.
address them personally.
My mother was never like this. We loved the Steelers. I mean, she even worked at the hospital where they used to get their medical work done after a game. I remember very vividly stories about her meeting and working with the original, like the super Steelers, like Terry Bradshaw, Franco
OGs.
Harris, and Lynn Swann, and all those guys. And I actually met them. We went to training camp. So we were fans of the Steelers, but not like she is now. Like, we just went to visit her the other day, and she has all these clothes. And I'm like, Mom, you never wear any of these clothes. You always wear Steelers, everything.
Everything Steelers.
Every shirt, Steelers, all the time. Which I think is kind of adorable. Hey, puppy.
Speaking of adorable,
hi,
my
doggy,
gosh,
doggy.
On cue. For those of you who are watching, Oscar just stepped into the show. Yeah, your mother, by the way, when she came to visit, she left stuff upstairs in the guest bedroom, and it's like 5 different Steelers shirts.
Yes.
Like, you're covered.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty
so
funny.
if you ever decide you want a Steelers shirt,
I know
where you can get a selection.
Second drawer upstairs.
Yes.
How and why did we reconnect?
How we reconnected? Well, we reconnected because God decided it was time. I told you last night, actually, at dinner, that you were one of those people that you just never forget, and you always kind of wonder what might have come of that. And so I didn't have any real long-term thoughts or plans. I was excited to see you again. It'd been so long, But that's the how is when I was in Houston 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
yesterday,
Yeah.
for an event. Why?
Mm.
Was that right? How and
How
why?
and why?
Why? Why not? I mean, have you seen her? Do you know her? I mean, she is everything.
Yeah, but that wasn't
Everything.
why you reached. I
Well,
mean,
I reached out. Well, I think I maybe even just when I mentioned how when I knew you many, many years ago, you had always stuck with me. You were somebody that was always in the back of my mind. People come and go out of your lives all the time. And 20 years from now, you may or may not remember much about it. I remember everything about you very well. And I've always kept it
mm,
somewhere closed away in my heart. And so the chance to see you again was certainly a welcome one. Nothing I didn't expect anything beyond that. So believe me, I was elated when that reconnect dinner
mm.
was not the end, but the beginning.
Yeah, what an incredible surprise. He and we've done a whole podcast on our story, and we'll put a link to it.
Right.
It was a last Christmas, we talked about all of it. But you were a guest at Anime Matsuri, asked if I could be a judge at a karaoke contest there, and I had just lost my mother not that long ago, and I just wasn't in that zone. But thankfully, I did say yes to your invitation to have
Yes.
a meal
Thank
together
you
and just
again.
talk and reconnect. And I'm so grateful, which then answers the next question: who invited who out?
Well, see, there's a bit of confusion here.
Oh, I don't see it that way
I
though.
I seem to remember that you wrote me back and said, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
had this loss and I'm not going to be able, don't have the bandwidth to do the karaoke judging thing. But if your schedule allows, maybe we could grab some lunch or dinner. That was my recollection because I didn't know, honestly, I'll be honest, I didn't know where you were in your life. I mean, we hadn't talked in a very, very long time.
Oh,
We hadn't seen each other in a very, very long
yeah.
time. And any talking was literally, hope you're doing
Yeah.
well.
Quick
Thanks,
text
you too.
too.
And that's literally the end of it.
Right.
So I I didn't have any illusions about it ever
Mm.
going anywhere. But like I said, I couldn't enter the city limits of Houston without thinking of you. So
Aw.
um
Well,
yeah.
but we can't pull up. I can't find it, that initial text between the two of us at that time. But I remembered, unless I'm making this up, and I was hitting on you subconsciously, but I do remember you saying, "Oh, I'm sorry you can't make it, but if you need a
Oh
friend,
yeah,
need a shoulder to
yes.
cry on, I'm here.
Yes.
Would love to see you. Maybe a quick bite." So I thought it was you that suggested that,
Well, that's
and
fine.
then I thought about it, and then eventually said yes to it.
I do remember the part about,
Okay,
offering to pray for you and your family
you
and
said that.
absolutely. No,
Yeah,
I did. I I didn't expect that anything would come of it rather than reconnecting. I
sure.
didn't have any hopes or plans of anything beyond that.
Yep.
So it was all quite a great surprise.
For both of us. This next question's, I'm curious about this. What was the first thing that attracted you to me?
35 years ago or 2 years ago?
I did good both.
Well, 35 years ago, you were beautiful and fun and creative and sharp witted. Um, we had, we were operating in kind of similar circles,
Hmm.
with Mix
Yeah,
96.5.
being in radio.
Um, that was the 35-year ago part.
Mm.
2 years ago, it was all those things because they're still you, maybe even more so.
Mm.
I tell people now when I relate the story that I got to the restaurant first and I was sitting at the table, and when you walked in, I just my jaw dropped. I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's more beautiful than I remember."
Mhm.
But obviously, that's only a very small part of the whole thing. What really grabbed me, and I always use this in the story as well, is that as we're sitting there chatting, 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 going back and forth, I noticed your cross necklace, and I said, "I love your necklace." And you put your hand over it, and you said, "Thank you. My faith is everything to me."
Mm.
And I remember going,
Hmm. What?
Oh,
What? What did I
really?
hear?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So that was a big turning point.
And it's a big part of our story.
Oh yeah.
Big part of our story. And I'm sure we've got more questions to dive into that. Real quick, because I know we have to go to commercial break, and this will be such a quick answer. Was it love at first sight, or did it bloom over time?
I don't really believe in love at first sight.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in attraction at first sight.
Absolutely.
I believe in chemistry at first sight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in love at first sight. Love is a big word. People throw it around way too much, way too casually. But what I knew about you, I was very drawn to. And when we reconnected 2 years ago, and the new information that I learned about you drew me to you even more. So it bloomed over time, but it certainly had a very strong foundation of affection and chemistry for me, and commonality and attraction.
All the right stuff.
But love takes a little more effort to develop.
Absolutely, it does. Absolutely. Well, we're off to a good round, a good start, I would say.
I got some here for you.
I know. We're going to take a quick break. Thank our sponsors. I thank you, my lovely husband, for just agreeing to do this and
Always
opening
a
up your
pleasure.
heart and your mind and your spirit to my women. So,
My honor, sweetheart.
thank you. We'll be back right after this. So while I'm sharing with my husband, let me share a little insider stuff. When I worked in the news business, which, as you know, I did for 30 years, toward the end, I'd say the last 10 years, I would take advantage of these membership services where you could get clothing, high-end clothing, shipped to you, return it, not have to invest all that money. Well, where was Vivrel when I was doing all of that? Have you guys heard about this company? Vivrel is the members-only club that provides member access to be able to borrow designer handbags, jewelry, watches, and diamonds. Yes, this is the accompaniment to all of the clothes. Vivrel has no return dates. That means members can swap items once per month, or you can keep it for as long as you like. You can even buy the item if you fall in love with it for less than anywhere else. Their most popular tier is called the Classique, which is $139 a month. And there's no better time to sign up because they're adding millions of dollars worth of inventory to their closet weekly. And there are new pieces to borrow in love. You guys, the bags on their site, unbelievable. We're talking Hermes, Fendi, Saint Laurent, Dior, and more. And they are stocked with it. And they just gave me the highest code that they offer. If you sign up today with code Flourishing, you're going to get 50% off your first month of membership. Go to www.vivrel.com and apply for a membership today using code Flourishing for 50% off 1 month of membership. The code will allow you to skip the Vivrel waitlist. That's VIVRELLE.com. Use code Flourishing for 50% off 1 month membership. Hope you're enjoying the conversation today with my husband. You all know that mealtime is the time to sit down, talk, share, and have great conversations. And if you follow me on social, you know my husband absolutely adores my meat sauce. That sauce is cooked in caraway. Why caraway? Well, first of all, their internet famous kitchenware is a staple for any home, comes in a variety of modern shades. I've got the peachy color. They have this really cool kind of black and gold, very slick. Any shade for your kitchen. But for me, the most important thing was ditching the chemicals. I had some old kitchenware. It was time for that to go. Caraway's Home's non-toxic kitchenware features a chemical-free ceramic coating. This way, food can be prepared with peace of mind without the hard-to-pronounce chemicals that will leach into all the healthy food that you're cooking. Non-toxic, easy cooking, and well-loved. Don't take my word for it. More than 65,000 people have rated 5 stars about their Caraway kitchen. So it might be time for you to give it a try yourself. We did the math. Their internet famous cookware set comes with the saute pan, fry pan, Dutch oven, and saucepan, plus lids and storage. It is the ultimate kitchen setup. Again, we did the math. The cookware set's going to save you $150 versus buying these items individually. Plus, if you visit carawayhome.com/flourishing, you can take an additional 10% off your next purchase. This deal is exclusive for our listeners. So visit carawayhome.com/flourishing or use code Flourishing at checkout. Caraway, non-toxic cookware made modern. Welcome back to Over 50 and Flourishing. It's couples Q&A with my husband, Vic. Y'all ask the questions, we're answering them. So we just went through a series of questions that were directed toward you. And now it's my turn to put the glasses down and be on the receiving end of this.
By the way, I'd just like to say I appreciate you allowing a 43-year-old into your Over 50 and Flourishing group. What is the biggest thing you've learned from previous relationships?
Oh boy, that's a good one. We were talking a little bit about this last night at dinner because it was initially couched with why me? You asked, why did you choose me? What I've learned from previous relationships really has to do with my rooting and my foundation in God, which has grown tremendously. And I think my audience would attest to that because I share it more, and I share it more because it's more a part of my life. But I would say that the difference would be that oftentimes we look for people to make us happy, or we have a set of criteria of, well, I feel I need this, or I feel this is important to me, or a certain type of person, a certain level of education, culture, well-traveled, this, that. Maybe we have appearance criteria, whatever. And when we look in the natural to fill things that need to come from God, we will always be left in a state of disappointment. So I would say that I was looking for things in other people that either I didn't have in myself, or I was fearful of, and hoping that person would be able to provide that for me, or whatever it may be. So I think mostly what I've learned is stop looking for things in people that either need to come from within or come from our Heavenly Father. And once I learned that, and I learned that going through, as everybody knows, a very difficult storm in my life, going through a divorce, going through a relationship in my life that wasn't healthy and wasn't working, the loss of my mother. That perfect storm sometimes is necessary to shake you up and get you to realize that the model in which you're operating isn't working. The model is off, and it's time to get out of the natural and get your eyes fixated on Him and release. And once I did that, I saw things differently in people, and it's what drew me to you, because I saw God in you. And here we are today.
You said something else last night that along these lines that I thought was really powerful and very relevant, and that is the world and people in general create a kind of a laundry list, a list of things, boxes to check. And if a relationship with God is not the first one on the list, then all the other ones could be checked and still not result in a successful and long-term, relationship, positive, successful relationship.
Right.
It has to be built on the right foundation.
Well, that's what you and I have said from the very beginning when we came together, is that if this is happening and we're doing this God first.
Yeah.
God first, vertical first and then horizontal. And it has made the most profound difference. I can't even compare this to anything that I've experienced, honestly.
How did you know you needed to leave the relationship you were in?
I think that you need to be heard in a relationship. You need to be valued, and there needs to be transparency in all areas. All areas. I just didn't feel like my voice and my say mattered, and I felt like I was excluded from things that I needed to be included in. I felt like I was included from many things that weren't my things to take on. So without divulging too much, because I'm respectful of privacy,
Sure.
not just my own, but other people involved. I don't believe in stirring up stuff. But if you feel like there's an imbalance, if you feel like you try to bring things to the table in conversation and they're not getting anywhere, and you're not being heard or not understood, and there's no change in that pattern, well, unless there's a willingness, first of all, it takes two, right? So everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has to honor and acknowledge those mistakes. But if one person isn't doing that or seeing the wrongdoing in what they're doing and how they're behaving and not owning it, it's a real problem in conflict resolution, a real problem. And that's when people have to make sometimes very hard decisions.
Yeah. After heartbreak and divorce, what were you looking for in a man?
Well, you. And I didn't
Can we
know.
Stop there? Let's just stop right there. We've reached the pinnacle.
Yes. You know what? It's like I alluded to before. I dropped the list. I dropped the list of things that I felt were important because they were not important. And what is important is that relationship with him and being with somebody who is equally yoked in that way, right? There can't be an imbalance there either. And you and I both know that because we've both been in situations where that's been the case. And if it's off, it's off. That's not only is that the foundation of our marriage, it's the foundation of the conversation at the start of our day. The books that we have stacked here on the table, because I know people have asked about these books. We sit in devotion and we read together, we read scripture, we pray together every single morning. So when you and I reconnected, and yes, I mean, okay, look at him. He's adorable. He's so handsome. He's sweet. He's funny. He's talented. I mean, you bring so much to the table.
Thank you, darling.
But you're welcome. But it was the richness in conversation. It was the talking about faith. It was the openness that you and I had that very first day that we reconnected, talking about past history, mistakes that we've made, things that we, have had to overcome, things that have been put on us that we've had to overcome, harshness and trials and tribulations, but the rooting was in God. And I saw that light in you and I saw that kindness in you. And I told you last night, I was watching you and just the way you spoke to the waiter and by name, so respectful, so kind, those are the things that I pay attention to. And because of that, I have a quality individual.
Thank you, darling. And if you don't mind me just kind of adding to what you just said, we talk a lot about the foundation being our relationship with God. And there may be people out there that are like, what
does that
why
look
such
like?
a big deal? Or what about these other things? Well, here's the thing. A relationship with God is not like stamp collecting. It's not like being a Star Trek fan. It's not a hobby. Being a follower of Jesus is a foundational issue. And if you're serious about it, it will affect every single decision you make.
Right.
How you treat your spouse, how you treat other people, how you talk to people, what decisions you make, how you live and breathe and act. It's not like you can have your hobbies and I have mine. We don't have to have exactly the same hobby. No, you're right. But if you call yourself a believer in Christ, then it should be reflective of the way you treat your spouse, the way you interact with people, the decisions you make. And that's why it's so incredibly crucial, because it's a trickle down. It affects everything.
It starts there and it does affect everything. It does.
That was the last one of that particular grouping.
Okay, cool. Then you're on deck. Okay, this is relationship journey. How soon did you feel like you wanted to be married?
Okay, I'm going to be vulnerable here. I'm going to be vulnerable and I'm going to say, I was married 25 years ago, or I should say it ended actually 25 years ago. I was married 30 years ago. And it blew a hole in me. I mean, it just about destroyed me. I celebrated the fact that I survived that. And I moved forward with my life, and I would date people, and I would try to build a relationship. And there was more than one occasion where I would get right up to the edge. I can't, and I back off. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Can't do it. Too scared.
Yeah.
Too scared of a repeat performance. But when I but when you and I reconnected, there was an ease about it that was so different than any past relationship. And it didn't seem like a big jump. I felt much more, I felt a much greater peace about getting married again. And especially, you and I have both had our challenges
Yes.
and successes and failures. And
Yeah.
hopefully you learn from them and you bring them forward, and, and they make a positive, impact on your future choices. But that was the thing. I had been scared of marriage for 25 years. And I feel bad, about not being able to to go the distance. But I wanted to, you know what I mean? But the past fear, and maybe that was just the Lord saying, this is not who
the
I
right
have for you.
person. Yeah.
So don't keep pushing here. Don't keep pushing. This is not what I have for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you have to listen to that voice. And I've told you this, that on the heels of just my divorce and all that I went through, I didn't even know if I'd want to marry again. I just was like, this is enough. Do I need it? Do I need to do that? So I was very gun shy myself, but again, rooted in faith. When you come together in such a way, you want to honor that with the right and proper covenant. At least that's how you and I saw it. And I think that's why it not only did we both feel that we were the right person for each other, but we felt like with our rooting and our foundation, that was the right way to honor it.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not, what am I going to do? Shack up with somebody, 58? Come on. Come on. How did you talk about finances early on?
I assume that means early on, once we were married.
I guess so.
I mean, you don't really talk about finances when you're kind of dating.
Yeah.
It's not as much a conversation, but
we did, actually. Now that I think about it, we did. We did. And I know why we did.
Please.
We did, because that openness and transparency was very important to me. And I was very willing to share my side and my end. And I really, really needed openness and honesty and transparency on your end. And you were very comfortable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In sharing that.
Well,
with
if it
me.
was going to move forward, obviously that was something, if you're in a dating phase and the person you're dating asks you something and you're gun shy or you're resistant, I don't want to talk about that, or you're evasive.
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely not good for the relationship moving forward. So I knew, obviously, that if there was going to be a future, you got to be open. I mean, nothing to hide. I have a pretty simple financial portfolio, as they say. But we just talked about it. I mean, that's one of the things I think that benefits us being older in life. When you're 23 or whatever, you know what I mean? You may not necessarily think about certain things to have conversation about, or you're maybe a little bit reticent to discuss certain things. Maybe even protective a little bit,
Sure.
But when you get older and you've had experience like we have in relationship, you realize that those are important. They're vital.
Yeah. Well, they're vital for planning. It's like, what do we want our future to look like? How much longer do we want to work at this capacity? You and I both love what we do. We say this all the time. We never see ourselves stopping, but maybe just not at the intensity or the capacity in which we're operating.
Right.
But that's why those financial talks are important, because at this stage of life, you may bring an asset or a couple of assets to the equation. I may bring, 401k do you know what I'm saying? We each have accumulated in our own unique ways through the years. And so what does that look like combined? And what will that afford us, in 5 years? And what will that life look like, or in 10 years? And I think that's why those conversations are really, really important.
Absolutely.
Shapes decision making. Okay, this is a good one for you. What made you comfortable being vulnerable again?
I don't know that I would use the word comfortable,
Uh-huh.
but I would use the word willing,
Yeah.
right? Um, I believe that there are many times in our lives where our willingness to move forward, despite not knowing what's around the bend or how it's going to turn out,
Mm-hmm.
is the most important thing. Being open, being willing, not like, man, I feel nothing. I'm so at ease. No, after 60 years, you know what I mean? There's a little bit of,
Mm-hmm.
concern,
A little
a
reticent.
little consciousness of this is a big deal. You know what you're doing here. You're the path you're going down, right? But I was willing and
Mm.
open to continue down that path. The path may bend around the corner, and I have no idea what's around that corner,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm willing to keep walking.
Mm. That's a good one. Okay, that's my grouping. Oh, and wouldn't you know, there's Courtney doing the old "that's a wrap" type thing. I know all the
Hi,
hand signals.
Courtney.
Hey, Court.
She's waving at you.
She is. I know. So we're going to take a quick break to thank our sponsors, and we've got more questions, and we're just going to keep going until we can't go anymore. We'll be back right after this. There's something about a love story that just takes your breath away. Not because it's perfect, but because it's impossible. Imagine finding the person you were meant to be with in the very place designed to destroy you. Imagine choosing love when everything around you was hate, everything designed to strip away hope. That's not just romance, that's survival. It is destiny. And it's exactly what we felt when watching Bow, Artist at War. This movie stayed with us long after we watched it. Yes, it is a Holocaust story, but at its heart, it's about love, the kind of love that keeps you alive. Joseph Bow wasn't just a prisoner in a Nazi concentration camp. He was an artist, a dreamer, and a man who risked everything, not only to help others escape, but to keep love alive. And then Rebecca, whose courage matched his own. Together, their story is proof that even in humanity's darkest hour, love can light the way. And I'll be honest, by the end, I was in tears, not from the sadness, but from the sheer beauty of their love. If you were moved by Schindler's List or even Jojo Rabbit, you will be so touched by this story. Bow, Artist at War, tells the remarkable true story of Joseph Bow, a brilliant artist and master forger who risked everything to help others survive. But what moved me the most was his love for Rebecca. Against all odds, in the middle of the Plaszow concentration camp, they secretly married, an act of defiance, but more than that, an act of hope. That moment was so powerful, it was later immortalized in Schindler's List. This isn't just history. This is one of the greatest true love stories of our time. Bow, Artist at War, directed by the incredible Sean McNamara, opens in theaters for a limited run beginning September 26. Visit bowmovie.com. BAUmovie.com to watch the trailer, learn about Joseph and Rebecca's real-life journey, and find showtimes near you. For me, this wasn't just a film, but a reminder. A reminder love isn't fragile. It is fierce. Love can even outlast the darkest days. Joseph and Rebecca's story proves just that. Ladies, can we talk about something that often gets overlooked or under-discussed? We take probiotics for our gut health. Everybody knows all about that. But what about probiotics for vaginal health? That's important as we all go through menopause. So I want to talk about a company called O Positive. They're a women's health company, and they offer a range of symptom-targeting supplements that support women at every stage of life, from their first period to well beyond their last. They have number one products on Target and Amazon. What is so special about Uro? Well, it is a probiotic with a blend specifically formulated to target vaginal health. That includes pH, odor, and vaginal flora. Why does that matter? Well, many women experience discomfort there postmenopausal, whether it is sex, tight clothing, sweat from working out, hormones, lack thereof, no periods. All of these can disrupt vaginal health and lead to an imbalance in vaginal flora that causes unhealthy odor, discharge, discomfort. What's so great about Uro is this probiotic is a blend of 4 powerful strains of lactobacillus probiotics, Backed by research, these strains are proven to help increase the correct pH balance and flora. So I want you to take proactive care of your health. Head to opositive.com/flourishing or enter flourishing at checkout for 25% off your first purchase. That is opositive.com/flourishing for 25% off. Welcome back to Over 50 and Flourishing. It's couples Q&A with me and Vic and your questions. And I don't know if we're going to get through all these questions, but we are trying so hard. We've got a bunch. So viewers asked me questions about you. They've asked you questions about me. So we're sort of getting through those. And then Courtney is mic'd up and she's got questions for the both of us together. So We'll finish off our little sheets here. And my next grouping is connection and personality. What is your favorite thing you love most about me?
It's really hard to pick. Honestly,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to be evasive. It's hard. There's so many. I wrote a song on my latest record called Reasons. And the whole gist of the lyric is so many reasons to love you, too many to list. You know, I mean, you personify in my mind everything that is good and beautiful and desirable. So
thank you. That's all you need to say. That's plenty good. And I hear you. That's impossible, actually. For me to even answer for you, I couldn't. I know the answer to this.
Steelers.
Now, do you ever get frustrated with me?
No.
Come on.
Okay. I only get frustrated. She has a tendency to be running a little behind.
But I'm better.
There's that fashionably late thing, you know. She's got that down. And it's not any kind of anger. It's just frustrating.
It's just the 5 minutes. I don't know what it is with the 5 minutes.
Yeah, but see, I try to be very punctual.
No.
And so when we both show up late because of that 5 minutes, I feel kind of frustrated. But nothing serious. Nothing serious at all. She likes to leave coffee mugs in the closest place to set them down.
I was waiting for that.
And if the closest place is 10 inches from the dishwasher, be it.
That's
where it will be until I put it in the dishwasher. But I'm a real jerk about it too. I'm like, do you want me to put this in the dishwasher?
He calls it out. I'm like,
I'll just put this in the dishwasher.
Yeah. Thank you. I leave it out so that you can.
Well, thank you for allowing me to serve you in that way.
Thank you for.
I mean it. I mean it. Is it my turn to hit you with a couple?
I've got one more.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Who's more jealous?
Me.
Is that the Italian in you?
Yes.
Okay. That's fair.
What does your child think of our marriage? What does Styles think of our marriage?
He's extremely happy. You know, it's so funny because I'm going to use this phrase. And I think I got the coffee mug first. I don't know, because we get coffee mugs for each other. But I got this coffee mug that has you and me in like a cartoon character. And it says, you know, you're my person, the end, I win. And I love that because I do feel like you are my person. And I will never forget Styles, you know, as he was watching this relationship blossom, he said, and he could see how happy I was and at peace. And there is nothing that a child wants more than to see their parent happy and at peace, because that reflects and rubs off on them as well. And I'll never forget, he used the words, "Mom, I'm so happy. I'm so happy you found your person." And I thought, that's just spot on. And you're right. And he loves you. And you know, what's so funny is that when he first met you, and I think there may be a question about that, and we waited a little bit. I mean, we were kind of long distance seeing each other. You were up here in the Dallas area. I was in Houston. So we'd see each other every 2 weeks, you know, flying back and forth. So a little bit in, you know, he met you. And it's funny, he knew of you through his friends who were like huge anime fans. So when he told his friends who I was dating, they're like, "What? She's dating Broly? She's dating, you know, this guy?" And Yeah. So then all of
Well, I
Styles'
didn't know that.
I know.
I better end this quick.
I'm like, I'm dating a cartoon character.
Oh my
Awesome.
goodness.
I know. So then all of Styles' friends wanted to come and meet you because they'd been following you and your work forever.
I remember the first time I met him. It was at your place in
Apartment.
Houston. And the other questions follow up along the same lines. How soon did you introduce me to
To him.
Styles?
I don't remember. It was, a couple of months in.
Mm-hmm.
But things were happening quickly because I also got the job at Merit. So you and I started seeing each other. That first dinner was in August. And by January 7th, I'm up here in the Dallas area and had moved to a townhouse, I guess it was about 20 minutes away from where you lived at the time. But Styles knew you, obviously, and he knew the relationship was happening. But,
Yeah.
The career also brought me up here. But yeah, I mean.
And I know your viewers know this, but you and he are very close.
Very close.
And it would be a mistake to keep a developing relationship from him because you're way too close to think that you could live your life in a vacuum and he wouldn't, and you wouldn't really have any concern. Well, it's my life, what? No, that's not you. You and he are very close.
Right.
And so it made perfect sense. And anybody probably, I would guess, that has children and goes into a relationship, maybe with somebody else who has kids or whatever.
Right.
It's incredibly important that you connect with their kids and that there is that you build a relationship with them as well.
Yeah.
Because you could love somebody to death, but if there's that kind of friction and turmoil in the house, it's problematic.
It is very problematic. But yes, I mean, you obviously want to make sure the relationship has legs before you say, because then, it's like the revolving door of men or women, depending on what side. And you have to provide that sense of stability for your child that to your point, not love at first sight. That takes time. That takes cultivation. And you want to make sure that it's there before you bring that to a child.
Yeah,
because you
absolutely.
have to provide a foundation and a security for them as parents. And that is something I always wanted for him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If I may say, people always say, you marry me, you marry my kids. I mean, like it's a package deal.
Right.
And even in my previous marriage, I mean, I loved the two kids that she had from her previous marriage as much as I thought I could possibly love children.
Yeah.
And that might have been even the hardest part of the loss.
Yes,
it
is.
So, it's very important to have a good connection and build a good, solid relationship with children of the person you love as well.
It's everything. It's everything, because it can be a deal breaker, honestly. Okay. Are those all the questions we have for each other?
I suppose.
Okay, then I think it's Courtney's time to start firing away.
Okay.
Hey, oh boy.
Everyone.
Fire away, fire away.
I do know that one.
Now
we just brought it into the 2000s here.
Did we get 90s? Where are we? I don't know.
I think that's Sia, right? That's pretty new.
That's pretty new. Okay.
Okay. We have so many questions. I hope we can get through a lot of them.
I know.
Okay, so going back to relationship and origin, how long did you do long distance in the beginning?
We did long distance from August until I moved up here in January. So September, October, November, just 4.5 months basically. And that was about all I was going to take. Now, you've done some long distance relationships.
Yeah, I don't know how I always end up in long distance relationships.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
But I mean, I don't mean to, right? Yeah. You don't mean to.
It just
You're
happens.
Like, before I ask you out, where do you live?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? No, you feel an attraction, you go with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seems to be the story of my life.
Yeah.
Like I'd meet somebody and you take it as far as you can, long distance, and then you decide, well, do I want to, try to continue this? And then I move and it doesn't work out. And then I meet somebody that lives way over there and I move and it doesn't work out. Like long distance relationship, I don't know how that seems to be like
your thing.
Yeah.
It was your thing.
Way too common.
But not for long. Because I remember it was so funny because we were at that point in our relationship where it's like, something's going to have to give here.
Yeah.
And here's what's so funny about life. And I really want to put this out there because please, please, please don't put the limitations on your life. And I had done that. I had said to myself, I'm from Houston. I've lived there since 1974. I was an anchor there for 30 years. I know people here. This is my home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not leaving Houston. Why should I leave Houston? This is my rooting, my foundation, blah, 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 blah. I already was putting all of these parameters in these benchmarks. So I was thinking, you didn't know this, but I was thinking in the back of my head, he's just been up in the Dallas area for 6 years. He's lived in Houston for almost 20. Of course, he'll come back to Houston. I mean, if this relationship has legs, why wouldn't he want to come down here and, move in and live and do life down here? I already had it all mapped out for you. So, yeah, isn't that funny? And then when we're kind of at that point in our relationship where we're missing each other a lot, we're not seeing each other, and it's getting hard, that's when the call came for me to get the job up here. And it was the easiest yes I've ever said, because this was so ripe and so amazing that suddenly all the things that I had prioritized and that I thought mattered and that I thought defined me and gave me happiness didn't. And walking away from that was the easiest thing that I've ever done. And I've never, and this, I say this all the time, I have never felt more at peace, more at home. I have courts in Houston. My son's people I love are in Houston, but I wouldn't go back. It's not home anymore. So it was lifting that made such a big difference.
And when we were dating, I probably had more than one conversation with close friends like Jeff or somebody where I said, she's never going to leave Houston. Like if this continues, she's not going to leave Houston.
Yeah. And here we are.
Yeah.
And I've never been happier. And I love our life together.
Me too. Next question.
We are never going to get through all of these. I
Never.
love you, both of you, and all of your answers. Okay, next one word answer. Do you both have the same religious beliefs?
Yes.
Yes.
And how did you go about finding a church to attend together?
That's an interesting story.
Well, I was attending a church in town. And when we started dating, when you would come up here, you would go with me to that church. And when I came to Houston, I would come with you to your church. And then I'll let you tell them the part about how you had passed and suggested that we try it.
Yeah.
So
just for a variety of reasons that we really don't need to get into, I guess. I mean, just wanting to get maybe a little bit more plugged in or trying kind of a different message.
Yeah.
And I was living in Keller at the time, and I would, drive by a church kind of either to here or whatever. And I was like, that is going to sound so bad. I'm like, that's a pretty church, because it is a really pretty church. And then out of curiosity, I went online and I read about the message and the mission and listened to a sermon from the pastor. And I thought, wow, this is a really powerful church. This is a really strong delivery of a message that you and I believe in and resonate with. It's a Bible-based church. It's, just amazing. And so I sent you a link. I remember that. And I said, just check them out. Tell me what you think. And would you be willing, because I know you'd been with your church for a while. Would you be willing to give them a try? And we did. And from the first day we went, it just, do you know when a place feels like home?
Yeah.
And it feels so welcoming, and you just resonate so well with the messaging and how it's presented. Yeah. And the worship team, I mean, all of it from top to bottom.
And I've spent so much time in production.
Yeah.
Whether it's music or just production, camera in general, that kind of thing. So it's kind of one of those Goldilocks churches where it's big enough to be able to put together a presentation with music and quality music and production value, but not so big that it's impersonal and
Correct.
You can get lost in it.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Yep.
What are your favorite devotional books for couples?
For couples. Well,
Actually, any book can be good for couples, because anything you read, it applies to you and it applies to me in different ways, perhaps.
Yes.
But there's something we can both find in almost any devotional book.
Correct. We read, so I have the list, and I just, because not everybody is watching, so we do Everyday Gospel by Paul David Tripp.
And Paul David Tripp has written several books that are really, really, really great.
Yes. Our pastor recommended this, and he has read this. When People Are Big and God is Small by Edward T. Welch. And we read this kind of chapter by chapter together, and then we talk about it. We always read devotional Grace and Glory by Louis Giglio. Yes.
Awesome speaker.
Yes. And so for couples, I personally love this one. So we all know Gary Chapman, who's the author of The Love Language, like what's your language? Is it physical touch, words of affirmation, blah, blah, blah. So he has the 1 year love language minute devotional. And this is so neat because this is for couples and it really walks through anything that a couple can go through. And like, for instance, today's was confession and forgiveness. And it's just beautiful, forgiving as God forgives, and how we just look at our relationships and our marriages, loving through hurt, choosing love, serving and not demanding. I'm just kind of reading some of these titles here. And I love this because what's been so neat for us is that we have not found ourselves in a lot of these situations.
No.
And every time we read, we're like, do we do that? Or do I do that? I don't think I do that. Do you? And we count our blessings for the fact that these are not our struggles. Not to say that maybe one day they won't be, maybe they will. I don't know. But if you and I will also say this: we're newlyweds. There are a lot of people who've been married for a really long time, and they are looking to find that connection again. And I know you and I would both say the same thing. Go to God first.
Mm-hmm.
Go to God first. But work together as a couple. If you both are willing and you both acknowledge that you want to come back to a place of love, you want to come back to a place of strength and joy, and you want to grow this amazing foundation that you've built together, but make it better and more beautiful. A book like this can be very powerful for a couple that maybe finds themselves in a rut because it's just been the same old, and really patterns are in place. And it's time
and
to
what I
shake
love
it up.
about that book that you just said, just to reinforce it, is that there's plenty of positive reinforcement about good things, but then it also addresses difficulties.
Correct.
And if you find yourself in a particular stage of relationship, where you're struggling to get through it, or what to do or how to respond. So all the different aspects, I think, of relationship are covered very well in that book.
Okay, we're going to go into your day-to-day life together. So what does a chill day look like for you two?
Heaven. Well, it always starts the same way every morning, right?
Yes.
Whether it's a
before
chill
it ever
day
gets to those, it starts with "Good morning, I love you."
Good morning, I love you.
First words out of our mouths.
Mm-hmm.
Either that or, where'd my blanket go? One or the other.
Where's my mouth guard? I lost an earplug.
Can you hear me? Sweetheart?
But there's always
what?
Yeah.
And then coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And reading, prayer, starting the day off, committing it to God's glory, and welcoming Him into our day to be Lord of our day and direct us. And then, you may have any number of projects you're working on, and I may have any audiobooks that I'm recording or music I may be working on, and we'll take turns taking the puppy for a walk, and maybe we'll have some lunch together, or maybe we won't. I mean, there's flexibility throughout the days, but we stay in regular contact, which I love.
Me too. That's one of the neat things about us is that as you look at this studio, this is a shared wall, and his whole creative space is on the other side of this wall. And it's neat because we both work out of the house. We both produce out of the house. And we're always asking the other person, come take a look at this.
Yes.
Come listen to this. Come see this. And we speak that same language, which is so neat to have that shared interest and passion in what we do and what we love to do. So
I thought you were going to say this wall is nowhere near thick enough.
Well, no, it's not, because
I like to turn stuff up. I mean, if you're working on music, you want to immerse yourself in it. You want to hear it, but
we all hear it. And the neighbors hear it.
The guy down the street knows what you're working on right now.
He knows your song in and out. Yeah. So that's a chill day.
What is your favorite place to go to together?
Any
anywhere.
place together is my favorite place.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, we have our certain favorite restaurants in the area that we like to go
Yeah.
to. Honestly, I just when we walk the puppy and just walk in the neighborhood, that's my favorite place. I mean,
Yeah.
it's easy to throw out, oh, we love to go to Cabo. That could be anybody's favorite place. You know what? You can always have magic in a magical destination, but I like the magic in the simple,
That's perfect.
right?
Yes. We bring magic
Mm,
because we're together.
that's it. So being
So
together is our favorite
any
place.
place is Cabo. Any place can be Cabo.
It's true.
Like,
It
have you
won't
guys
cost as
actually
much
been to
either.
Cabo?
Exactly.
Do you like the same foods?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we do. There's not one thing where, I mean, anything I suggest you like, anything you suggest I like. Um, you
I
like
will say you're much more health conscious.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not very deep, but that is you are very conscious of what you eat and the
Yeah.
kind of things you choose. I am not as conscious of it. I'm trying to get better, and that's a positive thing, that one of the many positive things that you bring to my life. But yeah, overall, it's so neat that we
Mhm.
love the same things, and we are open to
Yes.
doing things with each other,
Yeah.
that for the first time that maybe you suggest.
Yeah,
or I
well,
suggest.
it immediately made me think of that new like Indian Nepalese restaurant. And so we were trying all of these new dishes. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm eating, but wow, this is spicy and good. This is awesome. So we are excited to try things like that, which I love too.
Yes.
And how do you make new friends together?
I would say pretty easily.
Mhm.
You're a very outgoing, friendly, conversational person, and I feel like I am as well.
Yeah.
So wherever we go,
Yeah.
I just had lunch with a dear friend a little while ago, and
From church.
yeah, and he was late. He was late getting there from a meeting, and so I was sitting by myself, and the waitress's name was Genesis. How cool is
That's
that?
a great name.
And I'm like, it's exactly what I said. And the guy was sitting in a booth, the next booth. I don't know this guy, and he turns around and he said, Genesis, that was a good Bible name. And then she said, yeah, my sister's name is Gethsemane.
Oh.
How beautiful is that?
Wow.
And so she walks away, and he's still turned around,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, so you a believer? And I was wearing a Jesus only shirt.
I would say so.
Not really into religion. No, I didn't say that. I was like, yes, very much so. And he goes, well, amen. He goes, I'm John. And we just started talking.
Mhm.
So being open
Yes.
is really the gateway into
Yes.
making friends anywhere you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. We've met people through church. I've met people with our Friday night friend group.
Yeah.
We see the same group of people every Friday night. We just rotate restaurants. And so your people have become my people.
Yeah.
And you travel a lot for conventions on weekends. So you're probably gone every other weekend, which includes
Sometimes,
a Friday.
yeah.
So now, I mean, I join your Friday night friend group and I'm texting you like, hey, we're having a great time at such and such place. And
Yeah, they like her better than me now. They don't even ask if I'm going to be there.
that is not true.
Dominique, are you coming? Well, Vic's out of town. Yeah, I'm not really worried about Vic.
him.
Are you coming?
I love your people.
They love you.
Well, thank you.
No surprise.
Love it. We're going to go next into challenges and conflict.
Okay.
How do you resolve disagreements?
Talk. We don't have many. So again, we feel very blessed, but you're going to laugh because you're going to say, oh, I know it scares me. I can read you.
Yeah.
I can read you. I can read
Seriously.
if something's on your mind, if something's off, if something's awry, I can just tell. And I will inquire about it. And you'll be like, what? Me? I'm fine. Come on. Don't pull the wool over my eyes. And you've said this before, and I like this. Yes, something may be on your mind. Yes, something may be bothering you, but you want to sit on it for a little bit to make sure, is this real? Is this true? Is what I'm feeling true and real? Does it have validity? Does it warrant a conversation?
Right.
Or am I having to process maybe emotions, with like jealousy or reaction or this or that? So I may sense something in you, but you may not be ready to tell me because you're trying to determine if it's even worthy to bring up.
Whether it's valid. And then the
Right.
second question is whether I can articulate it, effectively.
Mm-hmm.
If it's still something that's just bouncing around in my head, and if I even try to put words to it, it's going to come out wrong.
Yeah.
It's not going to be what I'm feeling or thinking. And so, yeah, just being able to articulate, which is the biggest part of communication. You can ramble for an hour, but if you don't really say anything, you don't really get anywhere. So being
and
able
you
to
don't
articulate
present in
it.
the right way. That's really important too, because what you say has to be able to land on somebody and to affect change if change needs to be affected. And I think that we are very mindful and we're very sensitive to each other, because whenever we bring up something, we want to share what's on our heart. If something needs correction, we would like to assume it's going to land well.
Yeah.
Because if it's presented in a way where I feel this, and clearly nobody ever intends to hurt anybody, but sometimes feelings get hurt. And I just think it's awareness. It's like I would never, ever want to hurt you in any way. Just the thought of either something I would say or do would hurt you, like breaks my heart.
Me too.
So knowing that makes me couch it in a way, and you the same, where it's like, I want this to land well because I don't ever want to break this person's heart. I don't want to hurt them intentionally, unintentionally. And I think there's a softness to the way we bring things to each other that really affects honesty and change. And I like the fact that sometimes you'll sit on it and discern, do I need to bring this up or not?
And it's a softness that comes with, I think, with time.
Yeah.
For me. I didn't used to be that soft. I used to be a little more, you know what I mean? A little more aggressive, and nothing good comes of that. And you learn that. So the question is, does it affect your future relationships? Does it make a positive change in your behavior? And I came into this marriage determined and dedicated to being the best husband that I could be. And that includes learning from past mistakes.
Sure. Next one.
Okay. How do you build emotional intimacy in marriage?
Well, I would say feeling safe that when you communicate, it's going to be heard and land in a good way. That the more you're heard and the more that you're felt, and you will listen to me and acknowledge me and let me speak and not say anything. I can't even stress the importance of, as a woman, just being able to talk and not be interrupted. Do you know what that says? In not saying anything, that says, I love you enough to hear you out. I love you enough, so much so that my opinion in the moment or my thought in the moment or my idea to fix it in the moment is not going to supersede hearing you. I'm going to maintain eye contact with you. I'm not going to, start darting off looking like I'm uninterested or losing interest or, start reaching. No, that attentiveness when somebody is talking lets them know that they have hit an emotional safe spot. And that's what you give me. And that right there is the gift. And if couples can give that to each other, right? Then there is the willingness to be open, to feel emotionally safe, and to go there and to have the depth of conversation and trust.
I'm sorry, were you just speaking?
Just waiting for it. You're such a good actor.
I love you.
He is an actor.
Hey, speaking of actors, here comes
puppy dog.
Here comes a giraffe dressed as a dog. Are you cosplaying, puppy? I couldn't say it better. Yes, I second exactly what you just said. You can put on a good show when you're dating somebody because you're only with them a certain amount of time. Put your best foot forward, right? Shower, shave, nice clothes, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But once you get married, you're living together now. You can no longer hide. You know what I mean? They're going to see you in all of your, positive and negative attributes. And you have to be willing to let them see those things.
Mhm.
And you have to know that they will not condemn or make fun of or
Shame.
dismiss or
Mhm.
shame. I cry a lot. I mean, I think it's because of you, because my emotions are just so heightened since we've reconnected. But I cry a lot, and things move me emotionally a lot. And you could make fun of that. You could tease about that.
I
You know what I mean?
love that.
But see, and therein lies the beauty that I am willing
Mhm.
to bawl at something that moves my heart or
Yeah.
that I think is sad or unfortunate or beautiful.
Mm.
And you receive it and you accept it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that builds the emotional intimacy.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, next question. How do you keep the spark alive when things feel mundane?
That is not us.
When things feel what?
Mundane. Not
Yeah.
us. The spark is sparking.
Yeah.
Spark.
Remember the other day, and we're like, how long can you keep calling yourself a
Newlywed.
newlywed?
We actually
Like,
Googled
right?
it.
It was a year in
Well,
general.
yes. I mean, the internet, if you can believe the internet, I mean, who defines these things? But yes, they said technically you're a newlywed within the first year, but many couples claim within 2 years you're still a newlywed. I'm like, you know what, man? If I feel that spark flying, I'm a newlywed. If we're 10 years in and I just want to wrap my legs around you and out in public, we're a newlywed. So there.
Yes, I like that. I like that. We'll always be
We
newlyweds.
will.
Okay, there was lots of questions on finances
Mhm.
this stage in life.
Okay.
So how are you handling finances now? How do you share expenses slash income at this stage in life? Do you share finances later in life?
Yeah.
Do you guys want to get into that a little bit?
Sure. I mean, it's kind of an interesting question. I would say that we've recently done like financial, like estate planning.
Right?
That was really important, and just to lay out, those what if scenarios and have things set up in that particular way. And I feel like it's like you cover certain things, I cover certain things. You take care of this, I take care of that. In the end, it all kind of comes out in the wash. So as long as, there's conversation about it and how are we going to handle it? It's like, I've done a budget. So I want you to see. I don't ever want there to be surprises, right? That's so important to me. It's important to a lot of people, a lot of women maybe who feel like maybe they don't know everything that's going on.
Right.
I've always been a provider. I've always been an income bearer. So there's money in, there's money out. And I like looking at that not only for myself to see, do I need to make corrections somewhere? Am I spending too much here? Do I need to work it here? But I want you to see that. And I want you to be in on that and vice versa so that we can plan, because this isn't my life and your life. This is our lives.
Right.
So what's the future going to look like? What's going to be the best way to get us there? It doesn't mean everything has to merge, everything has to be a joint
Right.
account, but I think that honesty and that conversation about how we share things and divvy things up in a fair way, well, that matters.
Yeah. And like I mentioned earlier, I mean, my finances are pretty simple, um, as far as the accounts that I have and the money that I've saved and what I have and don't have. And um, so it's definitely the way that we have approached it. I feel really good about.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Me too. Again, sharing and transparency, honesty and trust is what it boils down to.
Love it. We will go into advice for others. How do you navigate dating in your 50s with hormonal changes?
I'm gonna let you take that one.
You stick a patch on it and get happy so that you can get out there is how you do it. No, really. And I understand the origin of that question, because when you are going through hormonal changes and you don't feel good in your own skin and your own mind and your own body, because the drop of estrogen can leave you feeling depleted that way. But you know what? You can speak to it. The drop of testosterone in men can make them feel more fatigued, not as muscular as they once were, not as virile, not as sexually active. All of those things can impact a man just like they can impact a woman. So I think that being on top of your game which is a multi-pronged thing. It may require hormonal balance, which requires, visits to doctors and blood work and the whole 9 yards and the patches and the pills and whatever you got to do. But it also requires that discipline with
Yeah.
eating and exercising and moving and feeding your brain and feeding your spirit so that you feel like you're coming to the equation a whole woman and a whole man. And only then will you, first of all, get the best of yourself, but the best from somebody else as well. And I think all of that matters.
Old age really snuck up on me.
Mm.
It seems like yesterday I didn't have any physical cares or injuries really, that impeded my ability to be active and live. And as is with everyone, eventually they will catch up and have to be dealt with. Maybe I should look into, do they make patches for guys?
Well, testosterone, you do the gel.
Well, I know, but I'm wondering about the patch.
Well, that's for girls. You don't want any estrogen.
Well,
then you'll be crying even more.
But do they make testosterone patches?
Oh,
not estrogen patches. But
I don't think so. I think it's either a cream, a gel, or an injection for men. I believe it's just a different delivery system. But you do it. I mean, you really admit.
Yeah, and it's really, I think it's really helped a lot in a lot of different areas.
Yeah,
and I don't know that I would have ever. I don't know that apart from being married to you, I would have ever even thought of doing any of those things. So
I just throw everything at you. I'm like, you need to try this. You need to eat this way, and I'm going to blend you your morning smoothie. You're
if
like,
you like it, you should have put a patch on it.
That's right.
I love that song.
Wait, is that the Beyonce song?
Yes. You're killing me. I love it.
He's so happy.
Also, according to the internet, and I know not everything's true, but I did just Google it, and it does say that there are testosterone patches.
Oh,
I would think so.
Go. Okay.
I would think so.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, your gel seems to be doing just great.
In your hair.
Oh, yeah.
What?
And your hair.
You said the gel in your hair.
That's
it. How do you know or test if someone is the one?
Can I just say, I've said this before, but I don't think there is just one person for one person. I believe that there are many people that you could choose to marry and live your life with. And depending on how much thought and common foundation and commonality and all of those things, the more of those there are, the better your life together will probably be. So you can either make your relationship harder or easier depending on the choice you make. I don't think there's just one. And I think if you go into it with the right attitude, God will bless that. If you both go into it with the proper hierarchy of priorities, God will bless it.
Yeah. I think, yes. I mean, when you look at just the population in general and the numbers, but I will say this, there is a difference when you choose versus when God chooses.
Yeah, for sure.
There is a difference. And it makes you wonder and question, well, how often does God choose? And how many is that? I mean, I know he chose you for me. I know that. And I know that this is unlike anything I've ever had. So I don't know.
Same with me. I've tried to force things a lot in my life and didn't work out.
Yep.
And as soon as I stopped trying to force things and just thought, well, where is God going to lead? What doors is he going to open, if any? And along came you.
Yeah.
Next question is, how do you keep your independence in a second marriage?
Third marriage. Second for you.
How do you keep your independence?
Yeah. To me, that's easy. You don't pair up with somebody who has any desire to take that away from you, who don't impedes on what it is that you need to do for fulfillment.
It's funny because I was forming that same thought in my mind, the idea that don't commit yourself to somebody who's not going to let you be you and try to take away your your individuality or independence, and, respect each other's, independent spirits and things like just last weekend, I ran off to the Star Trek convention because I've attended it for years and I have a lot of friends that it's nice to see every year.
Yeah.
Just,
And you invited me to that. And I said, you know what? I don't want to get in the way of you kind of nerding out with all your friends and spending 8 hours at that convention. I don't want to be that person who's like, but honey, come on, can we go see a show? Can we?
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that because
I'm hungry. That's
yeah,
silly.
exactly. I don't want to be that person. And it's not
Right.
to say that I would, but you were also there with a friend of yours that you've known forever. That's important to cultivate. And so it's like, when to opt in and when to give some space.
Yeah. And you're a very independent woman.
Very.
You do a lot of different things. And I would never want to pop on the scene and suddenly think that, everything needs to change to, or adjust, make huge adjustments to those things.
Right.
I think that's necessary.
But I will say this too. I think you and I feel there's balance between our independence, and we really, really love to be together.
Yes.
We really love our time together. And it made me think when I heard that question, okay, so what about the guy who golfs all weekend? And he's like, well, that's my independence. That's my thing. I golf all weekend. And then the wife feels left out, isolated, that she's not getting quality time with her husband. So that's a bit of a different story. That's independence taken to a point where it is at the expense of the marriage, especially if the wife is feeling like she's on the back burner.
Yeah.
And then there needs to be some shifting where he still feels he's got time with the guys and doing his thing, but she also feels valued.
And there has to be communication.
Right.
Maybe he doesn't know that she is really troubled by how much he golfs, and she needs to say something.
Yep.
And then he needs to receive that. Or he needs to go to her and say, how do you feel about me doing this? Are you
Even
okay
better.
with it? Give her the opportunity to say how she feels, and vice versa.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to close it out with some rapid fire. There's just a couple, so one word answer.
Oh, that's tricky.
Steelers.
Okay?
Oh, sorry. I was answering for my mom. Sorry.
Do you ever curse?
Rarely.
Sometimes. And I feel bad about it. I mean,
One word answer.
Sorry. Sometimes. Period.
Do you pick out each other's clothes?
Sometimes.
No. Well, I don't pick out hers. No. No, mine. She picks out mine.
I picked out your shirt today. I hope you like it.
I like that one. Wear that one.
Wear that one.
I will, because you like it.
Who's older? I thought you said you were 40.
That question did not have to be in there. What? Well, she's only 38.
Hey,
I'm
by
older.
the time this podcast airs, she'll be 63. I got a hot older
How did
guy who
that
looks
happen?
younger than me. Winning.
And last one, this can be more than one word. Do you remember what you ordered on your first date?
Yes. I remember the appetizer that you suggested. It was some kind of on the little tostada.
Yeah, the crab meat tostadas. And I ordered that as my entree. Yep.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I remember you and your cross necklace
And my crab meat tostadas.
and the crab meat tostadas.
And my skinny
where
margarita.
we sat.
And where
The
we
table
sat.
we sat at.
I know exactly where we sat.
Yep.
Yeah. Vividly. We went back there, in fact.
We did. We did.
We did.
Annie.
What a great 2 years. Keep
The
them coming.
best.
Keep them coming, baby.
The best.
Yeah. Thanks, Court.
You got it. Thank you both.
Yeah. Okay. Why do I have a feeling this will not be the first and last of these?
Well, I hope we do more.
I hope so.
mean,
I enjoy it.
and let me just say to your viewers and listeners, we're not any smarter
Mm-mm.
than any of you. We're not, we've not, arrived.
Yeah. We haven't cracked
We
the
are
code.
works in progress,
Right.
just like everyone else. And if there's anything that we have gone through that can help somebody else, then we're very happy to do that. But just speaking for myself, would never want to set myself up as some kind of, ultimate authority on this or that.
Right.
No, I've stumbled and fallen and made my share of successes and failures and good and bad. And, we're all a mixed bag, especially if you live long enough.
That's right.
But hopefully we can learn from each other and help each other grow in good ways.
Yeah. And that's the whole point of having these open and honest conversations. That's the whole point of my platforms. And I've even said this before. I'm not an expert in anything, but I'm a student in everything.
Mm-hmm.
I love to learn. And if I learn something that has benefited me in any way, I want to share it. I want to share it. And maybe it may not be one woman's thing, it could be another woman's thing. And maybe she tries it and it works for her too. And what a wonderful thing not to gatekeep information. And so I love that. You don't have to be an expert. You just have to be a student of life.
Yeah.
And then be willing to share. And I can promise you that in 5 years from now or 10 years from now, if we're doing this, there will be a whole host of other things that we've learned along the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Which will be neat to share as well. God willing.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us today. This has been so lovely. If you are listening on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, please share this with a friend, a couple that maybe you know somebody who could benefit from the conversation that we've had today, benefit from the answers to your questions. Maybe this will spark even more couples conversations. So I greatly appreciate you doing that. Rate, review, subscribe, and share. If you're watching on Facebook and you have any more questions for us, you can leave them below in the comments section. Give us a thumbs up if you like the content. Don't forget to hit the little red subscribe button. That way you're notified every Monday when a podcast airs and every Thursday when a YouTube tutorial airs. So we're everywhere. You can follow us both on social media as well. Vic does victories, and he does words of encouragement and faith-based, basically victories on your platforms. And I know a lot of my women have found you there as well.
For which I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just little 60 to 90-second daily devotionals or inspirational things to help people start their day off.
Yeah, they're beautiful. I love them. We appreciate you, and we will see you next time.